track, trees and screens? Stay tuned and all will be revealed. Well, good morning everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now, just before I start the content of this video, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who commented with regard to whether I should do Glossop first or the station throat first, and it was pretty much unanimous that I should do the station throat. That's not a problem to me, so it's going to be quite an interesting build, deciding on how to blend things in, particularly down here, how to blend that in with the Glossop area, how to put the buildings down the side of this scenic break, all that sort of stuff. It's not just a simple ballasting and making quick scatters. It is a little bit more complicated than that. But anyway, let's crack on with today's video. Well, track, trees and screens is the subject of this video. And you will probably realise I'm still fitting in the mill and generally tidying up this area of New Mills because it's looking in a bit of a state. So I do want to get that tidied up. So what I'm going to show you is what I'm going to do to that. Now, first of all, the point of this, I need to move these tracks over probably about 5-6 millimeters, as you can see there, so that they join up. As I've said many times, it's unlikely that I'm going to be running trains up there, but you never know, I might change my mind. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm just going to soak both of these pieces of track in water, and you can see from this point there's a bigger gap between the rails on this section than there is on this bit, so it should just move over quite nicely. And likewise with that piece, I do need to remove this mound, just take it back slightly and then maybe glue it back down again. We'll see how it goes. Right, so there it is. So as I said before, I soaked the area with water or IPA, whichever you prefer, and then I left it about 10 to 15 minutes, and then with a screwdriver or chisel, whatever it might be, I then started to scrape away the ballast down either edge, so I can literally create a gap to get the screwdriver underneath and then start prising it up very gently. This came up fairly easily. I then put the chisel in, or the screwdriver in that way, and literally just eased it down and prised it up, and then from there, as you can see, I was able to move it across. Now, this piece of track here was a piece of flexi track, and unfortunately it did literally just disintegrate, and sometimes flexi track will, because the sleepers and the chairs are very, very fragile and they do break very, very easily. But I did suggest that I was going to replace that piece with a longer piece which would fit the whole length in one go. Now, this bit I probably will just put some wire wool over the top of that, build it up with clump foliage and alike, and put a couple of trees in that space, and I'll show you shortly. Right, love them or hate them, these are the Bachman trees that you can bend into all sorts of shapes, and I've literally just taken the top of that and just twisted it and just bent it and all sorts. Now, I know Bachman or Woodland Scenics do their own glue, but I'm going to be using this carpet glue that I showed you the other day. So I'm not going to do it on cam because it's quite awkward to hold the cam and spray at the same time. But I'm hoping to do 3 trees at the same time so that I can put glue on all of that, and then it'll be a case of dipping it into clump foliage, which just happens to be Woodland Scenics, but as you know, I've made my own. There you go, there's loads in there, different colours, and it doesn't matter that's a little bit on the pale side, because once you put the scatters over the top, it sort of blends it all out a little bit. So there we are. Now, I know some of my trees in the past have not been particularly successful, particularly, well, those in New Mills, which I'm replacing at the moment. Some of these in Dinting look a bit, well, tired, don't they? And they look tired as soon as I've done them. But I've literally just dumped that into clump foliage, and actually that's not turned out too bad. Perhaps I need another little bit in that side, but with a bit of scatter over the top of that, I think that will be absolutely fine. The next stage is spray it with some PVA or your chosen glue, and then sprinkle scatters all over the top. Now I shall be using the normal grass scatters, so like it'd be like burnt grass and earth blend and green grass, all that type of stuff. Different colours, different trees, but always a couple on each one, never just one, because you want the colours to vary. That's what they would be like in real life. Right, some reason or another the camera didn't pick up any sound on this clip nor the next one, but you can see I've put in a little bit of sea foam in there, that type of stuff that comes in a box there. Also a bed of wire wool, I did like that, covered with clump foliage with carpet glue, then scatters over the top. Then down the bottom here, I've showed you some of these trees which I've refurbished. Again, carpet glue with clump foliage and then scatters over the top. It seems to work. But also want to show you that I've uncovered the path that goes down from the slightly major road down towards the signal box, and you know, because it was quite overgrown and full up with rubbish. So that's made that nice and clear now. So with my newfound success, I thought I'll try renovating one of these old rope trees. Anyway, same method, spray with carpet glue, clump foliage and scatters. Take a look at this. Okay, it may not be perfect, but I think that will be all right. So some of these trees, they do get quite dense, and they certainly will be quite dense along the back edge of New Mills, which is sort of just there. So we'll see how it goes. I'll put it on and we'll take it from there. It certainly looks better than those ones on there, doesn't it? All right, we'll catch you in a minute. Right, I'm finally onto the screens that are going to go down the side of that inside section by New Mills, around by the mill, and then via Dinting. Now, what I've got is some, I think that's 0.3 millimetre acetate or acrylic, whatever you want to call it. And what I've done is made or 3D printed some kind of angle. Now, this was my test piece, but you can get an idea. Now, I wasn't sure whether the 3D printer would do it, and it's done it absolutely beautifully. So I switched to black filament, as you can see, and I'm working my way around it. This is the piece that's going to go over Dinting Viaduct and around by the mill. So it does need to be a bit deeper. So I'm working out how to join those together. Right, welcome back. Now, I've done a bit more. Now, what I've discovered in doing this is that I've had to double frame this. Now, this part here is the single frame, as is the other end. But going down the length of it, because I had to sort of put little pieces, when I say little pieces, I'm talking about pieces about 170 millimetres, 180 millimetres, purely because the bed of the printer won't take much more than that. So I've had to sort of do some small pieces in there with some slightly longer pieces. So I've put another double frame over the top, which overlaps those pieces, and that's made that a lot more rigid. So you can see that it's still a little bit floppy, but that is considerably more rigid than what it was when I first started doing it. That's the plastic that I'm starting off with, so you can see how flexible that is. And obviously that's for another part of the insert area, if you like. Now, you'll see there I've made 2 holes, and what I'm going to do is put a plate over the top so that I'm not screwing directly into that, because there is a strong possibility that could burst through. I'd have to put a washer on it anyway if I did that, whereas if I put that plate on, 3D printed plate, it's a little bit more in keeping with the frame, and I can just put screws in there, and then another piece at the back to hold it in place, which will be that bit, and that will go at the back, kind of like that. and then depending on what the depth is at the back will depend on the depth of that, if you like. Right, so there's the first bit in. Now I know it's not perfect and it covers most of the trees, not all of them, but I had a choice to make. The sheets that of plastic that I had were A3 size, and I wanted to get that piece and that piece out of the same width. So I've managed to do that. That is 120 millimeters high, which has left me around about the 180 millimeters to go down there. So I'm more than happy with that, and that will be fine. I'm pretty sure I should miss most of those. Hopefully I won't catch the big ones, but that's the way life is if I do. I don't know whether I'm going to need to secure it any more than that, but if I do, I can always put another screw in around about there. After that, it is a little bit more limited to where I can put screws. I'd have to pack it out. I'd have to put some more packers in at the back there. I could do that, I suppose, and I might. So we'll see how it goes. And I'm now working on this bit coming down the side here, and that's going to be quite interesting because I don't know quite how to fix it at the moment. The wood's underneath the chimney, as you can see, so it may be a case of making some brackets to fit over the top of that, but we'll take it one step at a time. I'll speak to you shortly. Right, there we are. The screens are done. They took me 2 days to make those, and it's purely because there's been a lot of parts to print and they've all taken around half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever. And so I have to go off and do something else. But you might see I've put another piece across there, and you might be thinking, well, John, the whole point of cutting the mill in half was to gain access to that area there, and now you put a screen there, making it really difficult to get to. Let me show you. Well, as you can see, I can't spin round really, but you can see all the other 3 pieces, the piece to my right and the piece behind me, are fixed, but this just comes out. And what I've done is there's a slot there and there's a slot there, and this side is considerably more rigid than that side. There's a bit of flex in that side. So what I do is I put that side in first and then let that in and drop. And you'll notice there's a little stopper there, which is 3D printed, and that just wraps around. And there is another stopper on the top edge there. You can see that. And that works absolutely beautifully. Now, I've been up and down this area now. So I've now filled in this area here with a new lot of trees. I've done a little bit of tarting up with this area, not much to be honest, because I was quite happy with it, if I'm honest. That has been freshly ballasted, and do bear in mind this is a separate section and that does come away, so hence the trench in the middle there. As I pointed out before, all that's now foliaged up all the way through there. Oh, I still need to ballast that bit of track just there, but again, it's not that much to worry about. I've also done the trees up here and just give those a bit of a tart up, and these I'll show you a bit more clearly from the other side. Now, if I peer you down the side of New Mills, all these trees down this side have been refurbished, if you like. Now, it's the same structure, it's still the hemp rope. All I did was sprayed it with that carpet glue, smothered it with clump foliage, and then scatter. And that's all it is. Just different colours, and the same down here, just different colours of clump foliage and then scatter. So all of that's been done. All this has been done as well, indenting. I've replaced again, tarted up all these trees. These trees here, I did decide to leave the silver birches like that. They do look a bit grey, but to be honest with you, they are quite pale in real life. So I'm going to leave those. And I think, to be honest with you, it just gives a little bit of a nicer, you know, a bit of a contrast, if you like. So I'm really happy with that view going down there now. Just give you a little bit of a shot down that way. And I mean, obviously the view might be helping a little bit because there was a bit of an unfortunate incident. You might have noticed I had some ceiling lights up here, some light spotlights, and they decided to give up the ghost the other day and short out the whole house. But that's the way life is. It was just a chip switch, you know, so it wasn't difficult to reset or anything. But obviously those lights were dead, so I had to order some new ones. That one and that one, and I can change the colors with these. So if I want to create a moody, dark, rainy, miserable day, I can have it blue if I want, or green or yellow or red, whatever it might be. But yeah, anyway, just looking back at that scene, I'm really happy now with that. That has made such a difference, and that screen works beautifully. I've been in and out there, I don't know, 2-3 dozen times since I put this up, and it only went up yesterday, so that shows you how much I've been using it, using the area. I haven't run the trains as such in that time, and they're not running at the moment, but I haven't knocked anything off this. I haven't damaged any of these trees beyond what they already are. And I mean, I've caught the screens by all means, and you know, I'm bound to catch the screens, but they're sacrificial, and if they get damaged beyond repair, I can make another one, and it's not the end of the world. You know, I still need to refix some of these gantries with the socket system, that type of thing, but it's all coming along very nicely. Still haven't done anything with this. This bridge here will need ballasting, and I can perhaps cover these over. Somebody suggested just paint them and just use it as the trunking going under the track, and I could probably put a little bit of track trunking underneath that, you know, that sort of stuff. Just put a bit of that over the top. But yeah, it's all working very nicely. So I mean, there are things that still need to be done. I haven't put the gantries on here yet, so that's obviously got to be done as well, but I'll do those sort of as and when I feel like it. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way that's all coming along. I can't, you know, that view down there now, I'm just loving that view, and this view as well, you know. Right, so next, as I pointed out, or you mentioned in the last video, that you'd like to see this area done here next. Now, I'm not going to go mad at this. Videos will probably go back to once every 2 weeks, if not longer than that. It really does depend on how I'm feeling when I'm back to school, and if I don't feel like doing anything, or you know, I won't, and it'll be as simple as that. And it'll be a case, a little bit like Richard from Everard Junction does. I'll get it done when I get it done, and if it's 5 weeks, it's 5 weeks. I hope not, but you know, that's the way life will be. So I'll work on this. I'll show you some ideas of what I'm planning on doing, but it will be loosely based on the actual scene as much as possible. But bear in mind, this track bed coming out of Manchester Piccadilly is on a very long viaduct, which is miles and miles long. So it sits above the track, whereas that will be below. So it's quite the opposite. So some of the buildings that appear lower than the track will be appearing higher than the track, and it'll be just a case of you'll just have to use your imagination, I think. And we kind of make up the scene as we go along, so to speak. Anyway, I will leave the video there. Just give you a quick look at Piccadilly Station bathed in the new light, which is, like I said, just there. And I will see you again very soon here on Piccadilly. Take care of yourself, and bye for now.